Dmitri Shostakovich's First Violin Concerto is one of those works of his that invite interpretation as commentary on living in the Soviet Union under Joseph Stalin. It was composed shortly after the Second World War, a time of great privation and stress in the Soviet Union in 1947 and 48. He wasn't able to premiere it for a number of years. It was one of those works that he felt he needed to keep under wraps until the right time. That is, until Stalin's death. And it was premiered, in fact, shortly after Stalin's death in 1953 by the violinist David Oistrakh, for whom it was composed. The first movement is a nocturne. It's titled Nocturne, and to me it's really a dark night of the soul. It's the struggle of the individual, perhaps, keeping his moral center in a deeply immoral society. The second movement is a scherzo that is one of Shostakovich's madcap romps. And it's one of the first times, in fact, that he encoded his name into his own music, a motive that he would use more and more in his music to perhaps to indicate that he is the protagonist of his own work. The third movement is again a slow movement. This is an innovative four-movement form. It's unusual for a concerto. The third movement is a passacaglia, meaning that it's a set of variations over a bass that repeats over and over. It has a cumulative, obsessive quality that's extremely powerful and emotional. And I suspect that it's this movement more than any other that Shostakovich felt was just a little too honest. Even being an abstract musical expression, a little too honest about the pain, the suffering endured by people, especially the intelligentsia, in a deeply censored society. The last movement is titled Burlesque, and it puts me in mind of one of the poems that he set in his 13th Symphony, which the Philharmonic recently performed, about humor, saying that humor is the one thing they can never kill and that will always keep us alive. The last movement is one of the funniest pieces he ever wrote. It's just a madcap chase between the orchestra and the violin that just seems to get faster and faster and comes to a slam-bang conclusion. And this is perhaps the movement that has made the First Violin Concerto such an audience favorite, despite the pain that the work also encodes.